Okay, you said your friend was all upset about, you had a friend come on, she got blasted online.
I just think that a lot of these ideas maybe, like personally, I feel like throughout my conversation here, I actually would consider myself to be really open-minded and like, I love hearing other people's points of view. But I found the tendency of like, every time I would say something, you'd say, you think this way. You 100% are arguing that you believe this thing. But I just, I don't think that that's necessarily true.
Kind of a meta conversation. So I'm asking you specifically about the thing with your friend.
Oh, when she was on this show.
Right.
Sure.
I'm trying to get back there.
Yeah, I just think that she was maybe cornered in the sense of being told, this is what you think, this is all who you are. I just think it's really hard to encapsulate people's full point of view.
Pull up the video. The first one and the second one.
From a segment of their experience.
Is the audio blasted?
You know?
Is that you?
Would you date a police officer?
No, the pigs, because the institution they support is inherently racist and profiles black and brown Americans especially, throws them into jail, which is a continuation of the slave trade essentially. People are working in prisons for less than minimum wage, making pennies and dimes, and it's unfair, and that's what you contribute to if you're a cop.
My question to you is, I disagree with you on...
Yeah, I bet you do, white boy.
That's a bit racist.
Oh my God, no, you're one of those. How can you be racist against, and I'm also half white, so like how can I be racist against you?
You don't think you can be racist towards someone who's white?
No, I don't, because you've never experienced racism in history.
White people haven't experienced racism.
One of the experiences.
What's your definition of racism?
I'd say basically like the persecution in any type of way that leads to the downfall of just like someone's life. Like,
play the second one really quick. Go ahead.
I think that's really easy to say.
Nick, you just started it at 50 seconds.
It's always going to affect my life. I can't take off my skin color. As a black woman, like prejudices that exist against me don't exist against you, Brian. And that's why you can't be racist against a white person. So I'm sorry if you feel offended. But you are white, and me calling you white boy isn't exactly racist.
I mean, you are addressing me by my skin color. I consider
your skin color will never lead to the, what is it, premature murder of yourself. Like, I don't know, like...
I would actually point out one thing to you. Me as a white man, I'm the only male at this table here. There are more white men killed by police officers than women of any race combined.
I mean, then why aren't you mad? Why don't you hate police too?
Because I realize that police are a necessary function of society. Without police, it would be chaos. We need police officers.
I mean, I think that's really easy to say as you, once again, I'll reiterate, a white person. And again, that's not to be racist.
So, it's funny that all of you laughed when she called me white boy, which is a racist statement unless you disagree and you actually think that it's not racist to call a white person a white boy.
How?
Did it impact your life?
How?
How did it, what do you mean, how did it impact?
No, how is calling you white racist? Are you not white?
Well, hold on. There's a certain tone when you say something, and her attempting to dismiss my point because of my skin color, aside from just the word she used, it occurs to me that that would be a bit racist.
Is
that I can't
prejudice?
Weigh in.
That's not racist.
Well, what's your definition of racism?
My definition of racism is basically exactly what she just said. When your color affects how you live your life completely. By saying you're white, that's an observation. Racism is like your subscriber that was talking about, I won't date, this is why I don't want to date black women because they're ignorant and stuff like that's racism. Prejudice is saying, oh, she's black. That's prejudice.
So your definition...
Well, let me ask for just very quick, okay, as soon as this comes through. Let me just ask this very quickly, is being prejudiced worse than being racist?
No, I mean, honestly...
No?
We're not all going to be kumbaya, of course.
And so you would agree then that while it's true, or may be true from your worldview, that you could not be racist towards Brian by calling him white boy, and you say it's a prejudice statement, you just said that morally they're equivalently abhorrent, correct?
Well, then I take that back, because just by stating the obvious that he is white, then yeah, that's not. Are you?
But
hurt by that?
if you say that's a prejudicial statement,
Yeah.
then you say it's prejudice, and prejudice is not more immoral than being racist.
Well, I just took
then
that
haven't
back.
you done
Did you
an
miss that
equal
part?
thing? Hang on.
Did you
haven't
miss
you
that
done
part?
an equally? Hang on. Haven't you done an equally immoral thing by doing something which is prejudice instead of racist?
No, if I start like attacking him and saying like racial stuff, which I will not do, then yes. But I'm not doing that, and neither was she.
No, but she was. She said that she could not be racist. She said she was being prejudiced.
I think she was being more degrading than anything. It would be like similar to someone being like calling me four eyes if I was wearing glasses, where it's like, yeah, that's my appearance, but I'm not inherently affected by it in like all of society.
Wait, what?
What?
Wait, are you just saying like so calling someone four eyes is on like being racist against white people is on par with calling someone
No,
four
I was
eyes?
comparing it to her just degrading you, is what she was
Racially.
doing.
I would say it is on par, because white people don't face racial discrimination. People with glasses don't face glasses discrimination.
Well,
You're no
hold
more
on,
hurt.
There's a whole bunch of them.
I would
You're
like
no more hurt
tie
by
it-
someone calling you white than someone is. It might hurt you in the moment. You might feel like you're being degraded or you're being looked down
Oh
upon.
yeah.
But
Oh
it
yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
affect
Was the
your-
knockout game? Was
Like
that
all
racist?
I can think of right
Was the
now is
knockout-
that
was
That's
the
So
knockout
Raven
game
episode
racist?
where she can't get that employment. Like she can't get that
Like,
employment.
I mean, I
because
would like
she's of her
this
skin color.
question answered.
What is the knockout
to,
game?
to your statement? So there was a group of young men, young black men who were running around, and they were knocking unconscious older white people for fun. For fun.
That sounds like a boomer
And they would
Facebook
say-
urban legend.
No, that it's not. I can show you video after video after video. It's called
Okay,
the
pull
knockout
'em up,
games, not a
pull 'em
joke.
up.
We're not going to pull up.
They were
assault
purposely
videos.
But I'm just
attacking white
asking you
people,
though.
like solely white
let's
people?
assume for a second I'm telling you the truth because I am. Would that be racist?
Can you answer that question? Were they solely attacking white people, or were they attacking
Yes,
multiple people?
only white people. Correct.
Hold on, we're getting off topic here. Okay, bringing it back to you. The video that we're reacting to is kind of very secondary to the conversation I'm actually trying to have. So you were kind of upset that your friend went on the podcast and she said the things that she said, and that was actually very gracious to her despite what she said. And she got a bit of blowback from it. You don't take any quarrel with how she conducted herself.
I think you're a grown man talking to younger women, and I think we've been socialized in such a different way where certain things are considered funny in media or a more casual way to discuss something that's a really hard topic for her and a really hard topic for non-white people in general.
Can you answer the question? Because you're kind of you're
question?
deflecting a little
Living
bit.
underscore donated $200. Sorry, Brian. Very simple. Prejudice based on race is racism. Prejudice against any race is racism. You can say it's not as bad since it's towards white people, but that doesn't mean it's not racist.
But even if we were to grant to the chatter that being prejudiced is not the same thing as being racist, if they're morally equivalent, then who gives a shit? It's still just as bad as
Devon
the other
Jackson
thing.
donated $200. Racism is literally prejudice based on skin color. Words have fucking meanings. Her assuming Brian's worldview and dismissing his points based solely on his skin color is literal racism, and I'm blah.
Well put, Devon Jackson.
I'm not really sure what response you're looking for. I think I was trying to respond in the sense of I just didn't like that. I think I've always wanted to come on a podcast like this and discuss different point of views, and I think I've been really respectful this entire time. I haven't said anything derogatory to you about your opinions, and I just personally didn't like that when she was sharing her opinions, she was faced with derogatory messages and kind of like the promotion of that, I believe. And I was not necessarily blaming you or your platform, but rather just the consumption of media and how there's often a lot of derogatory content and hypercritical content when she was just expressing her experience in her own way. And I think, you know, if you've had those certain experiences, which obviously I am white and I haven't had those experiences, and that was the way that she handled it or interpreted it, I think that is valid in its own regard.
Yeah, I mean, but why side with?
That was a lot of word salad, but okay.
Yeah, well, like, why? So just ranting.
But hear me out.
True.
I'm being super respectful to you, and then your response is, "Oh, that was a lot of word salad."
Well, you're kind of dancing around the question.
I'm not. I'm telling you.
I asked you, do you agree that her conduct was? You take no quarrel with her conduct.
I think I have received the same level of kind of aggressive, outspoken attitude towards me already from specifically Andrew.
Yeah, he disagrees with you.
Which is totally fine to disagree
I've
with
been super nice. What do you mean?
Anyways.
Oh, would you like to see me mean? That's not
don't
fun.
be mean.
No. I mean, you're welcome. I can take it. Like,
Super
I don't
nice.
mind. I'm just saying, I think, I don't know what you want me to say. I feel like I've given you my perspective.
Can I ask a question? Yeah. What if it was the other way around? What if he spoke to her the way she spoke to him?
It didn't happen, so
But I'm just saying, what if?
Hypothetical?
That's a valid question.
I think there is a more historical.
Well, I'm just saying in that moment, though, not.
Yeah,
history.
yeah. I
Context
think
matters.
I'm saying context matters, though. So I think because there is a more historical discrepancy of white people treating black people wrongly, it would hold more value of him being
justifies
derogatory
how
towards
she
her.
was talking to him.
I'm not saying whether or not it's justified. I'm saying it would be very different and incomparable.
Because if he would say that, he would be canceled. But like since
I mean, she was hated on and also canceled.
because
so
what she did was wrong.
I'm just
What do
saying.
you mean?
In my
How do you
opinion,
know she was canceled?
I don't know. She was experiencing a lot of hate from it.
Yeah, you totally made that up. She wasn't canceled. That's insanity.
I mean, I don't really know what canceled or not canceled.
Then
I'm
why
just
did you
saying,
say it?
Canceled in the sense of receiving hate for it. We're
That's
talking
not
about
canceled.
it now.
Canceled is deplatformed, thrown off. You depersoned,
Okay.
debanked, dehumaned. That's canceled.
Okay.
All right, here's another
Well,
question.
I mean, you say okay dismissively, but you know that this happens to conservatives a lot. They get deplatformed, they get their bank accounts frozen, they get completely thrown off of all of these platforms, and while the left cheers. And I think that in this situation, had Brian spoken to her the same exact way that she spoke to him, that is exactly what would have happened to him. And it seems like a double standard. That's what he's pointing to, and he just wants you to address it.
Like I said, this was over a year ago, and I hadn't experienced the full context of this in over a year.
We just pulled up the video.
Yeah, and I told you very objectively that was my feelings towards it during the time. I didn't like that, as a young girl, she received a lot of online hate was my problem with it.
Okay. Well, here, look, let me ask a couple questions. Going around the table, do you think that you can be racist towards white people?
I think you can, not institutionally, no. But I think socially, of course, anyone can be racist to anyone if it's being derogatory towards a certain skin color. But I think the important aspects of racism, such as institutionalized racism, I do not believe white people experience that, no.
So if people are deprioritized in job selection or college applications,
white women benefit the most from a lot of those
What about white
selections. I don't know the statistics of it. You asked my opinion. My answer is
affirmative action.
Affirmative
DEI.
action most benefits white people, actually, and de-benefits the most Asian boys.
Hold on. Affirmative action benefits white people the most?
White women specifically, yes. There was a huge Harvard trial on it, actually.
No, hold on. Are you talking about like when it came to for Asian Americans?
Collegiate affirmative action? Is that...
Well, specifically, I think with Harvard, it was the case that Asian Americans had to score way higher than white people, black people, Latina people,
unfair.
Native Americans. It had to do with Asian Americans.
Yeah, which was unfair, but white women were benefiting the most from collegiate affirmative action, yes. You can look up the statistics right now.
How?
Just they were receiving the most admissions due to affirmative. I mean, you can just Google it right now.
But so just to be clear, your point is, wait, Nick, okay, you got it. So Can you be racist towards white people?
Institutionally, no.
Not institutionally.
I think,
there couldn't be a policy that would ever be racist towards white people. Is that what you're saying?
That's hypothetical. I'm saying in our American institution, no.
And what would those institutions be?
The fact that we weren't enslaved people, the fact that we have had countless instances of demolishing black
in
wealth.
fact, white people were enslaved at various points in history. Many times.
Majority of them were indentured servitude, which is
no,
still
that's not true. You had so listen. Do you know what the order of mark and reprisal was? This was in order to stop white people from literally being kidnapped, put on ships, and then they were taken away by the Arab slave traders. Thomas Jefferson put an end to that. We don't know how many tens of thousands of white people were enslaved during that time, nor in the previous century. We have no idea. It is true in recent history, you can point to blacks being enslaved in the United States, but there's not currently a single black person alive today that I'm aware of that experienced slavery.
Okay, so you asked, but my question is, you asked my opinion, I say no, and then you go to rebuttal. It's okay to have a different opinion from me.
Well, it's not
and it's also okay for me to rebut your opinion.
Yeah, sure, but my opinion stays strong. I don't think we experienced the aftermath.
So you're not going to change
I
your
have
opinion no
witnessed
matter
racism
what is offered to you?
Towards everyone, every different racial group in front of me except for white people. In my personal experience...
Wait, but you just said that you can't be racist towards white people.
That's what I'm saying I have witnessed...
Well, by your definition...
Every minority group...
You're bending the definition to preclude you from even being able to see racism against white people.
Why?
You just defined it the way you defined it.
Why against white people? I'm saying in general, racism I have witnessed in my life.
Was her calling me a white boy racist?
I mean, not in the sense that I find racism to be.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If I were to hold on, wait. If I were
1 second.
Okay.
All right. Is race a social construction?
Yes.
There's
no biological...
Race is just a social construct, right?
Yes.
It does not exist as a physical reality, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's going to set the framing for what Brian's about to say. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, so she called me a white boy. If I had called her, if I dismissed her opinion or her disagreement or her thought by saying that she's a black woman, black girl, would that be racist?
Yes, because of the social implication.
But is it not a fact?
I mean, if you say it as a statement and an objective truth, oh, you're a black woman, perhaps not. But if you're saying it in a derogatory sense...
Was she saying it?
So how is it not derogatory towards him?
I agree it's maybe derogatory, but I think it's a variation of generational humor and coping with such topics. I don't think she said it. I think intent is everything.
The intent was pretty clear.
Was there, for sure.
Well, I don't even understand though. If race is just a social construction, which is exactly what you just said it was, then anybody who brings up race in a negative light for the purpose of demonstrating that it's not a social construction, how are they not introducing some sort of prejudicial bias or racism?
I don't understand the question. That didn't make any sense.
Yes, it does make sense. It's a social construction, correct? So if nobody talked about the social construction anymore, wouldn't it go away?
No, because it's a social construction doesn't mean it's not a social reality. It is a construction.
No, wait.
Can you let me finish?
Social reality is only a product of the mind. So if nobody ever talked about what is a social reality, the social reality goes away.
It's not a product of the mind. That's not what a construct is.
Oh, no. Social construct definitionally is a product of the mind.
No, it is not.
Really? Can you point to a physical social construction?
Money. Money is a social...
No. You're pointing to paper as the physical reality. Money is the social construction which the paper is. Money itself is just paper. Is that true or false?
It is just that's the thing. Money is a physical... Money is a social construct.
Does not exist except as a product of what?
So if we ignore money, it'll...
Answer the question.
Don't run from the question. It only exists as a product of what? The mind, right? Money only exists as a product of the mind.
I just disagree with that. I disagree with that.
It doesn't. So if everybody decided tomorrow that the $20 bill inside of your wallet was worth zero, what would it be worth?
It would be worth 0, but that's
It would be worth
completely-
0 because it's a product of the mind. Its value is a product of the mind. It's socially
That's
constructed.
a pointless
It does not
hypothetical.
exist in
What if we
material
all decided
reality.
that houses were useless and we went back and lived in caves?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a
Houses
point.
are not social constructions. They're material reality. You can see them, touch them, taste them, walk into them. Those are real things.
You could lick a
not
dollar.
socially constructed.
My point that you did not let me finish was that race is a social construction, but it does not mean it's not a social reality, and people feel and experience material reality effects of such a social construction. So just
That's right. They do.
If everyone,
I agree. But
Okay.
I've already agreed with this. I agree that if you have a social construction and everybody lives as though the social construction is true, you do have to experience the effects socially of the social construction. So for instance, we could socially construct that your hair was red right now. And everybody could believe it, even though it was not an objective reality. They would still treat you like you were a redhead, right?
Yes.
Okay, but that would be false. You would not be a redhead, but they would still treat you as though you were. But assuming everybody dismissed this social construction of anybody having red hair, how would it exist in material reality?
Would be blonde.
I mean, that doesn't matter because
No, it matters.
it doesn't matter to this question at all because
It does matter. It
Well,
matters big time.
No, because what we're asking is if the roles were reversed, would that be as bad?
Grid 1 Motorsports donated $200. Wow. Just. Wow. Nothing Dollar Tree Blondie has said has been accurate at all. Please stop talking and listen to the man speaking, and you will learn something, as God intended.
Okay, anyways.
Thank you, good one.
So we're asking if the roles were reversed, would it be as bad? That is dealing with reality. That's dealing with the real world. We're not dealing with like
No, it's actually,
mental...
well, hang on. I'll rebut this.
Okay.
So it's not, though. What it's dealing with is a non-reality because you believe that race is a social construction,
That affects
right?
material reality, yes.
It's not a material reality. So
It
therefore, if
affects-
nobody ever talked about race again, how could it be a material reality?
It is, I mean, if no one ever talked about it again, it wouldn't be, sure,
So
but...
then by her talking about it, by this woman talking about it and bringing race up and pointing out Brian's race, she's talking about it, right? Bringing it into material reality from your worldview. And she's pointing it out for what reason?
She's not the one doing it. That's the thing. We are all... You can't divorce everyone from the context of material reality. No one is doing anything or saying anything in a vacuum.
I'm not divorcing anybody from the
You
concept
are. You're
of
divorcing her
material
from the context of her lived
I'm
reality.
saying to you that from your perspective, it is not a material reality.
No,
So
I've
for her
already
to bring it
stated
up-
my perspective is that it is a material reality. It is based on a social construct.
Oh, so it's not a social construction then?
No,
it's a physical reality.
I have stated what I think about that multiple times, and you are misinterpreting it. Race is a social construction that has created the material reality that we live in. That's
I agree with all. I think
and
I
yet
heard
you
you
keep
just
sa-
fine.
you keep
I'll steel man it back
misinterpreting
to
that.
make sure that I have it correct. You ready?
Okay.
I'll steel man it back. You just say if I got it right or not.
Okay.
The social constructions, if you act as though they are real, can have real effects in material reality.
Not just if you act as if they are real. They are real. You can't, in the blink of an eye, make them not real.
Okay, no, I
You
didn't
can-
say in a
in
blink
your,
of an
like,
eye.
hypothetical
That's not what I
world-
said. One more time.
Okay.
Let me steel man the position. Social constructions are not real. They're products of the mind. Yes or no?
They're not just products of the mind, no.
They're not. Okay, so then can you point one out to me?
Can I point out a social construct?
Yes, in a material reality that's not a product of the mind.
Well, the way that race affects people materially, like hate crimes.
No.
I mean, that's a material
but
reality.
race itself, is race itself a social construction?
Yes, I've stated that
Okay,
multiple times.
so then it's not anything other than a product of the mind. Yes or no?
No. I mean, I've already said what
No?
I've said. If you don't understand the connection that I'm making there, that's on you.
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
understand. So let's try. I'm just going to try one more time. I want to make sure I got this right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that social constructions exist in material reality, or they're only products of the mind?
They exist in material reality.
They exist in material reality. Okay. Can you point to one that exists in actual material reality then?
Race.
Okay, so then race is not a social construction then.
You just
Why
don't
you get this?
I feel like we're wasting time because you just don't
No,
understand
no,
what
it's
I'm
not.
saying.
We're not. You don't understand, right? If
we don't
something's a
understand each
product
other.
of the mind, if it's only a product of the mind, and you say race is a social construction, therefore it's a product of the mind, then that means it can't exist in material reality. It doesn't exist absent the mind.
That's just not true, though.
It's not true.
Products of the mind can have an effect on material reality.
I didn't say products of the mind can't affect material reality.
You mean
I said they
exist,
don't
like- you mean, like,
actually exist
tangibly
in
exist.
material reality.
Sure, race is not tangible. No.
Yeah, so it doesn't exist except in the mind, right?
No, something can be tangible and exist. Or intangible and exist. Music exists. Music is not tangible, but no one's denying that it exists.
Music's not a social construction. There's sound. There's things we can measure. It's not just a product of the mind. What are you talking
saying that
about?
music is an example of something that is intangible and yet still exists in our reality.
It's not intangible. What makes it intangible?
You can't. It's not physical. You can't. I mean, there are.
It is physical. What are you talking about?
Well, it's a vibration, but in the colloquial sense of the
so
word
there is
intangible.
a physical sense that we can measure in material reality. Is
Okay,
that
I'll
the
give
same
you. I'll
thing
give
with
you
race?
that. Music was a bad
Hang on.
example.
Is that the same thing with race?
I would have to think about that. No, I would.
You'd have to think about that.
My
of
immediate
course.
response is, well, yeah, this is a complicated question. I think
It's not a complicated question.
It is.
It
This is
either
a really
exists as
complicated
material reality or it
discussion.
does not, and it's a social construction. It can't be both.
I disagree.
Oh, you disagree. What is the definition of a social construct?
Something that is socially agreed upon and constructed via reality. I mean, think like the census.
Okay, so is it social construction itself then?
No.
The reality? No. So then is race a social construction?
Yes. I did not hear the first part of your question.
Okay, then it doesn't exist in material reality. So I don't know why you keep disagreeing with me here.
I mean, because you don't understand what I'm saying.
Go ahead, tell it to me again.
I don't want to just keep repeating myself and having
All
you
right, I'm going to
willfully.
move on.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
going to
you.
move on. Let me read a couple chats, but we do have to go around the table on one of these questions once she's back. So hang tight, guys. Really quick, Man Clown, the panel is a treasure. These wayward and unconstant women are a testament to the bounty of Western civilization. Do they see modern female mating practices as predatory of male productivity? This is a question you actually want me to pose to the panel. Do you see modern female mating practices as predatory of male productivity? Anybody? Quick answers,
Yes.
kindly.
Do you mean like going for men of a certain like social status or like material, like going after men for money, basically? Is that
I think
predatory?
like this question makes me feel like they are referring to corn.
Start getting those pulled up, Nick.
So I would say yes. I think corn is unhealthy. I think a lot of people don't take it in moderation, and it can ruin lives.
How does that impact your worldview being active on OnlyFans as a creator?
I don't do like regular corn on there. I do ASMR and eye-based stuff. And you know, if people are not going to take things in moderation, I'm not there to tell people what to do. I don't think we should be telling anyone what to do. I do think there should be more resources and help out there for people who need it.
All right, going around the table, just to finish up this answer, please let's not linger on it too long. So the question was, can you be racist against white people? If you want to restate your answer quick, and then we'll move on.
I'm done talking about it.
I think it's subjective on where you are in the world.
I think you can be racist to any race.
Yes, in different ways.
No.
Can't be racist against white people?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Just really quick on your answer. You say no. Is that worldwide? Or are
No.
we speaking in the U.S.?
I think that's in the institutional context of the U.S.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If Barack Obama, during his presidency, refused to hire a white janitor who was in poverty because he was white, would that be racist?
If he did that, then yeah, like if hypothetically, if we started enacting policies in the United States that were subjugating white people, that we, yeah.
The most powerful person in the world.
Then yes, you could be racist against white people. I think it has to do with the institutional context, yeah.
So you can be racist against white people?
In a hypothetical, in the real world, no. In the real world,
What do you mean
where
in a
we are-
hypothetical?
In the
Barack Obama was in fact president.
Did he what
What?
discriminatory policies that subjugated white people in a meaningful way did he enact that are still in effect today and that
Well,
white people are feeling the effects of today?
I'm giving you a hypothetical.
Exactly, and I'm saying in the hypothetical, sure, you can be racist against white people.
But you're saying in a hypothetical, but a hypothetical, it could never manifest itself. Like
I don't know that.
Racism could never manifest itself. Like I could give you an example, but in actuality, in reality, racism towards white people would never manifest itself. Is that what you're saying?
It's doubt. I would have to see it to believe it.
You think it's very doubtful that racism towards white people can manifest itself?
In the United States, yeah. I mean, the world could go on infinitely, maybe at some point, but...
Okay, here's another, perhaps a more realistic hypothetical. A black business owner refuses to hire a white person because they're white.
I think that would be racial prejudice. I don't think institutionally it's not affecting all white people, because
What if it's a major institution?
I think it would still
this business.
I think it would still have to be more than just like an anecdotal singular incident, because in the way I think of racism, just my definition of it is it's something that's more broad based. It's not an individual thing. You can be racially prejudiced against a single person, and you can use the broader concept of racism to discriminate against an individual, but racism as a concept for me is like, that's a widespread institutional thing.
Nick, and is being prejudiced more or less immoral than being racist?
I don't think moral really factors into it for me. I think that it...
Oh, they're equal?
Sorry?
So they're equal and bad?
No, racism I think has much greater in a negative way implications.
So what makes it worse than being prejudiced?
The long-term implications of it.
Why would the long-term implications of racism be worse than the long-term implications of prejudice?
Because they're systemic. They're deeper.
So are prejudices. Prejudices can be systemic as well. And
not in the definition I'm working off of now.
No, even in the definition you're working off of. Are you saying the definition that you're working off of, prejudice, cannot be systemic?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. So then you would say then that if white men oppressed white women, would that be racism or prejudice?
That would be misogyny,
or
I believe.
Did you mean sexism, Andrew?
Would that be prejudice?
It would be, I think it would be, that would include prejudice.
Yeah. Could that be systemic?
Well, the systemic aspect is the misogyny. The prejudice, no.
Systemic?
The prejudice, no.
Oh, so why? So I just want to make sure I get this right, so I don't straw man your position. If white men systematically were prejudiced towards white women, that would not be systemic.
That would be misogyny, and I think, yes, misogyny is also systemic.
Okay, but prejudice is not systemic.
No, my definition of prejudice would be more of an individual thing. So you could, as a result of systemic misogyny, someone could be prejudiced against an individual woman because they've grown up in the context of systemic misogyny. They are going to be prejudiced against individual women.
Got it. So let's assume for a second then we will work off of this insane definition. I'll just grant it to you for the sake of doing it.
Thanks.
It turns out that you live in a society where they only harp on people who have blue eyes. That's it. It doesn't matter if they're men or women. It just so happens that far more women than men have blue eyes. In fact, almost all of the women do. And so the men with brown eyes oppress them, not because they're women, but because they have blue eyes. Are they being prejudiced towards those women?
That would be a prejudice, yes, but I think that would
be a prejudice. Now let's assume that they built institutions in order to stop these blue-eyed women from doing things that they wanted to do. Would that be systemic prejudice?
I mean, that would be two different things. The prejudice is a result. The prejudice is a result of the systemic discrimination. The blue eye.
What?
Blue eye-ism.
Yeah, so that's just prejudice, right?
Yeah, but the prejudice is on an individual level.
Yeah, but no, it's towards all people with blue eyes. Men and women.
Yeah, but I mean, that's that. Do you see what I'm saying?
It's just that most of them are women. So could they systemically be prejudiced towards all of the people who have blue eyes?
I just don't think that the word prejudice
applies. You just
applies.
don't think? No.
No, I think that would be...
They can be systemically misogynist. They can be systemically any ism that you want to give, but they can't be systemically prejudiced, right?
I mean, I think that if you want to, like, go in that direction, yeah, I mean... systemic discrimination includes prejudice. I'm just saying I don't think the prejudice
so then prejudice can be systemic, right?
I just don't think that is the definition of prejudice.
What is the definition of prejudice?
I would say holding a belief about someone. It's more in the terms of like what you believe. Like,
so if a lot of people hold a belief
like a
about a lot of other people, and it has nothing to do with their race or their sex or anything else, would you call that a prejudice?
The prejudice is in the individual, though. It's not in. It's like each individual
has. Why couldn't it be
has
societal? I don't understand. Why couldn't it be societal?
It's not that it can't. I'm just saying that
then if it can.
No, I'm saying.
Then I don't understand how it's individual. I don't get it.
Because it exists within the individual. The individuals hold these biases.
So does racism. Racism would exist within the individual.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think
so then I don't understand how this is not systemic both ways.
Because I think that is the key difference between them is racism. My definition of racism is how that prejudice manifests on a systemic level. Prejudice is the word for the individual interaction, the individual discrimination against someone because of the biases you hold. They're interconnected. They're related.
Why could that not be systemic, though? You still haven't made an argument for why that couldn't be systemic.
I mean, you
that
can go
no
back and forth
to
forever. I've already explained how I feel.
Hold on. I do have to read a couple chats here just because they're about to fall off. One sec, guys.